week we're doing something here at Today's Homeowner on the Ask Danny podcast that we do a lot of times, and that's trying to keep homeowners safe. Now, we talk about eyeglasses, ear protection, those dust respirators, but one of the most important aspects of your home is keeping your family safe. October is National Fire Prevention Month, and I've got two guys that we're going to talk through some of the things let's talk about awareness of some of the things you can do. I have Stephen Millhouse with the Mobile Fire Department, as well as Captain Dwight Smith. Guys, I've been looking forward to this because, man, it makes you feel good if you can put out a little bit of information. And you know how it is. You might throw 10 things out there and people only grab one. Well, that's better than none at all. So one of the things that I used to do when I had my three girls in my house is we would do the little fire safety plan. We wouldn't try to scare them, but, we'd gather them around and go, okay, and I'd push that smoke detector, and that obnoxious sound would go off, and say, okay, when you hear that, and it's always going to happen in the middle of the night, it seems, don't be scared, but here's where you need to go. But talk about the importance of that fire safety plan and maybe some of the guidelines that people need to kind of grab a hold of when they're trying to educate the family, the kids, and exactly what to do in the event of a fire.
Sure thing. Well, the first thing is to actually have a plan.
Uh-huh.
A lot of families don't even consider it until an emergency happens. So you want to be prepared ahead of time and have a fire safety plan, especially if you have small children in the home or elderly people living with you as well. So just have a plan, and to accentuate portions of that plan, blare the smoke alarm so the children know the sound of it and what to do when they hear that sound. Practice escaping the home safely, knowing your means of egress, whether it's the nearest exit door or window if you have to do that, if you're on a multi-story type of home. And then again, you definitely want to know the safe routes of having to get out of the home. Practice having the kids crawl through the house.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if it's...
You can make that a little fun, can't
Yeah,
you?
you can make it fun.
Yeah.
Make it a game, and then just have a safe meeting spot outside, somewhere everyone knows where to go. Whether it's the mailbox, a big tree at the end of the driveway, or a neighbor's house or something like that.
That's
where,
right.
especially like I said, if you have small kids and everyone knows where to go, and just make sure that the biggest thing is getting out and staying out. Don't go back in for pets. Don't run back in for your photo albums or anything like that.
Right.
So once you're out, stay out, call 911, let the professionals come and do their jobs.
Good.
And just to add to what he just said is, especially when you making it like a game, but making it reality to them, because it makes them familiar with what they need to do once they go out. When they go into the door, they feel the door with the back of their hands. If it's hot, then you go through your window. So just different types of methods that you can use, even though that you're teaching it as a game, but you're familiarizing them with, just in case you do have a fire in the house, and how to get out.
And when with a family plan like that, it's not really should be considered one and done. You really need to kind of revisit it a little bit. I mean, the kids get older. I remember when I first did that, my youngest, it was like, can we have ice cream now? It was really all that was on their mind. But it is such a, and it's also everything we're talking about here is peace of mind and comfort. Absolutely. With knowledge and information, and you're all together as a family, you're just going to be more comfortable knowing. And then scenarios, I guess, that, okay, kids, if you're here and, your mom and I are not here and you're here with the babysitter, let's talk about that. And let's talk about this situation and that kind of situation. And so it really does make a big, big difference from that standpoint. Now, some of the things that people need to drop by the home center and pick up, of course, one would be fire extinguishers. So many homeowners are confused about fire extinguishers. A, B, C. What do I do here? So give them some guidelines. Like right now, if someone's listening to the podcast and they go, we don't have a fire extinguisher, or more commonly, where is the fire extinguisher? So when they roll into the home center to look at the fire extinguishers, first of all, how many should they have for a typical home, and what should they be buying?
Well, right now, for a typical home, I would at least have two. Because you got a laundry room, and also you have a, for the oven and stove. So at least two in each home. And then knowing what type of fire extinguisher you need to buy. Fire extinguishers classified in different types. You got Class A, Class B, Class C, and Class D, and even Class K for kitchen. And most of those are for commercial use. But Class A fires is mostly what we put in trash can, paper, plastic, wood products. Class B is what we cook with in petroleum products. So those are Class B. Class C is electrical fires, and Class D is combustible metal. So in most cases, when homeowners buying a fire extinguisher, they need to be looking for a multiple purpose fire extinguisher, and that is classified as A, B, and C.
I got you. Good. And of course, if you're if you're one that likes to grill out a lot, probably good to pick one up for out there. I've seen a lot of people. They go and turn their gas grill on. They head back inside to do some chopping and dicing, and maybe they start watching the football game a little bit. Next thing they know, the vinyl siding's on fire outside. And that's another thing. Combustibles, you really got to understand what is combustible, because people do that all the time. They'll have it right up against a wood-sided house. They've got a wood deck that they're grilling on and those kind of things. I'm sure y'all have seen a lot of sad situations as a result of just not thinking about that kind of thing.
Yeah, the number one cause of fires in a home is unattended cooking, and that's usually in the kitchen. But now that we're in football season, the fall, and in the summertime when people are grilling, it's the same thing. If you're frying a turkey, if you're frying fish, if you're using a deep fryer, if you're using a grill, if you're using a smoker, those types of things, you can't cook if you're not in that area. So you have to stay there and attend whatever it is that you're cooking. So again, fire extinguisher is good for outdoor use as well, just to make sure that you're prepared and that you're safe and that you've got a plan just in case something happens.
Well, I do have a little embarrassing situation that happened to me. I'm man enough to share it with you. So I was cooking one morning, and I have a little pedestal area or a little peninsula in my previous house I lived in. Cooked an egg, thought I turned the grill off, laid the spatula there, ate my egg, boom, went to work. Halfway to work, I got my smoke alarm went off. My alarm company called me. And, of course, I circled back around. By the time I got back there, you guys were there and mentioned that someone had left that on. And it didn't cause a fire, but it kind of melted down the spatula. And so that really, not only was I had to face my wife, which is a little embarrassing. But it made me think every time when I grab that door to go out to get in my car, I immediately have a checklist in my mind. And whether that checklist is in your mind or you actually put one there, not a bad idea. I mean, you want to lock the doors, you want to do this, but you also want to make sure that alarm's on and make sure that you haven't forgotten something that you've left on, because that was a real close one for me. I'm sure you've seen lots of close calls where people have been a little negligent, let's say. Yeah. So that's one of the things I certainly recommend to people is if you can't remember it, go ahead and print something on your door there.
At least from that experience, you got a learning experience, and it's you were reactionary, but because of that, like you said, you may want to print something and put it right by the door. You got your keys, got your wallet. Is the iron off? Is the stove off? Is there anything else that we need to check for? Yeah. So again, just make a little checklist or mental checklist, and if you put it in print and you see it, then you got to pay attention to it. And if it's preventable, things happen, but if it's preventable, you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to prevent it.
Exactly. Boy, this is some great information.
Yeah, and think about it also, your smoke alarm worked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, let's talk about smoke detectors here in just a second. Okay, when you talk about, smoke detectors, I remember, every year when the time was changing, the media would always say, change your batteries, change your batteries. Boy, that's kind of different now with the lithium batteries. It's made a big difference with all the tools that we use. But when you're talking about smoke detectors, I was kind of surprised a couple years to learn that you really should replace the smoke detector itself after 10 years. And you think about how advanced technology is now and how much better they are now than they were 10 years ago. But that's something that a lot of consumers and homeowners don't realize, that the lithium batteries not only last 10 years, but the older smoke detectors, they've gotten dusty, they're old. So I know that's a big push for you guys to encourage people, let's get some brand new ones in there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the things that we've been doing for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years here in Mobile, is that Mobile Fire Rescue. We've been going out, changing out smoke alarms and batteries for the citizens. So it's a good program that we're running through a grant, and we've been installing 10-year smoke alarm with 10-year battery. So it's a good program. Also, what we're seeing is a lot of these old smoke alarms. And when I say old, you're looking at 20 or 30 years old smoke alarms still in homes that are not working.
Right.
And so this program that we are using now, it is a great program in helping the citizens here in Mobile.
Yeah, and the advancement of everything. Used to someone would say, "Well, smoke detector has gone off. I'm not at home. What has that done for me?" But now you get text alerts, and of course, a lot of us have, alarm companies and so forth, and fire prevention sensors and so forth. That's something when you're building a new house or doing some remodeling, is probably really an important thing. Not just just put in what you normally put in, but you really need to think about exactly how your lifestyle is, and think and really listen to those guys when they advise, okay, we recommend the sensor, the smoke sensor or heat sensor in the garage, we recommend here, and those different things, because you just don't sometimes want the basic package if you really want to protect your family, because there's a lot of hot spots in the house.
Yeah, those things are created by a lot of engineers who've done painstaking, meticulous research on what needs to go into different smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors,
Right.
and things of that nature, and where they need to go. So, like you said, infrared sensors and things of that nature. They've done that research. People a lot smarter than us.
Right.
So you want to pay attention to what type of home you have, what you need in your home.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got the upgraded models, or if you need to change the batteries, and you hear those little bird chirps from the
Right,
smoke alarms,
right,
that doesn't
right.
mean ignore it.
Yeah.
That means that's your warning. You need to go ahead and change up those batteries.
And it's funny, it seems to always happen in the middle
Middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
The little bird chirp on the smoke alarm. So you need to change those batteries. You need to make sure you're testing and checking your smoke alarms to make sure they're still operational.
Sure.
Whether they're old school hardwired,
Mm-hmm.
you plugged it in yourself, or it's one of the more modern, technologically advanced smoke alarms. You want to just test it, make sure it's working, and then change those batteries as necessary a couple times a year.
Space heaters. Space heaters should never be used as your primary heat. You should never use a space heater when you're not in that room, and you shouldn't use them overnight. Boy, is that ever ignored by homeowners all the time. And I know you guys see some terrible things when people are just trying to get through the night and that kind of thing. But to talk about the not smoke detectors, but the space heaters and the importance of having the right kind and using them the right way.
Yeah, we talk about space heaters ad nauseum every winter, fall,
Yes.
winter, cold weather months. But the biggest thing that you can do for a space heater is follow the manufacturer's guidelines. Give it space. Like you said, you
Right.
can't operate a space heater if you're not in that room. It's not used to heat an entire room or an entire home. It's just supplemental heat for a small area. So you make sure that you're plugging it directly into a wall outlet, never into an extension cord.
Exactly
right.
The extension cord
Yes.
cannot handle it. You're again, if it's preventable and you can prevent it, you want to do everything you can to prevent it. So plug it directly into a wall outlet, give it enough space, keep it away from anything else around it, at least 3 feet away from anything, on a flat surface. So don't put it on the carpet, on the rug, anything that it may tip over. Don't put it up on a table. That's not a good idea either. So just make sure you got it, in an open room with open space. Don't put it under your desk. I know it's
That's tempting. I know.
that is very tempting, especially in office settings when it's really cold, to warm your feet. But don't put it under a desk, because oftentimes people will forget that it's there and they get up and leave their desk, and
Leave it on.
they leave it on and come back to some problems.
All of these are very, very simple, logical, practical things, and and hopefully, and of course, we have lots and lots of information on our website at todayshomeowner.com to go and review a lot of these things. But maybe it's not considered fun, sexy home improvement stuff that you can do. But boy, this is some of the most important things that you can do. And I'll tell you another thing that's easy to do, and nobody seems to do it on a regular basis, is to call that certified chimney sweep, have them come out and clean
Very
it,
easy to
and go ahead and inspect it well, and then advise on what can do. Because we've all seen those fireplace
Exactly.
fires, and that's a tough
Every year.
one.
We see it all the time. So at least once a year, especially just before that first time you light it for the new season, because you've gone through fall, winter, and now spring, summer, every season. there's all kinds of things that are in that chimney. You may have had squirrels or birds dropping
That's
stuff
true.
in there.
Yeah. Yes.
You've got leaves, sticks, brush, everything. Any kind of stuff is in there that's just accumulated over the couple of seasons that you haven't used it. So right now I've got birds in my chimney, and I hear them every morning. So
Yeah, they can find a way in.
find
I'll
their
tell you.
way in.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to have it professionally inspected, cleaned, and swept before you light it for those cold weather months. Otherwise, you're going to be calling us when you could simply have called a professional chimney sweep to handle that for you. And you don't want us coming to your home filled with smoke.
No.
Just coming in to kind of clean up the mess.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's preventable, do what you can to prevent it.
Hey, this feels good, man. This feels good that we're able to share some of this information. Hopefully, we made a little bit of a difference. We can keep knocking on the door. They just got to open the door and let us in on it. So I appreciate it, Stephen Millhouse and Captain Smith. We appreciate it, and hope you enjoyed hearing these certain things that you can do around your home to really make your family safer. More information waiting on you at todayshomeowner.com. I'm Danny Lipford. Thanks for listening to this special Ask Danny podcast.